Home defense setups can be very confusing, especially in today's day and time when there's a lot of options out there and you got to decide which one are you going to go with. So once again, this is Ray with XTech Tactical, and today we're going to go through some of my personal options that I use in my very home. So being an owner of an FFL, one of the perks is that you get to kind of get your hands on a lot of the options that are out there and experiment with them. So for me, one of my bedside guns is the MAC-9 DSD comp here in the 4 1/4. The 2011 market has really kind of blown up, and honestly for good reason. They're very easy to shoot, have decent capacity in them, very easy to get accurate and on target with and shoot fast. So therefore I chose to utilize this gun as my option because I thoroughly enjoy shooting it. Set it up with the Surefire X300 Ultra here and the Holosun 407C. Already comes with a Magwell in there and 17 round magazines. One in a chamber gives you 18 rounds. And since I'm not really carrying this concealed or anything like that, I'm not really concerned with the weight of the gun. It actually works in your favor, keeps it kind of flat and balanced in your hand. So chose to keep this on the bedside, and oftentimes one of the guns that you'll see on my hip if I'm working inside the shop because it's been crazy reliable for me and I'm just having a lot of fun shooting it, so I haven't put it down. So handguns as a whole, they're good options for home defense. Pretty standard. One of the shortcomings and things like that of using long arms is that oftentimes they require you to use both hands on the gun, which means that you can't call 911 simultaneously to get police and emergency support on the way to you. So handguns, especially one that's outfitted with a light on it, I do highly recommend white lights, weapon mounted lights on pretty much any defensive firearm as a whole, because if you can't see what you're shooting at, probably can't hit it. Now, specifically why I chose to go with the 2011 platform instead of something like a striker fired gun. For me personally, I have a lot of trigger time behind 2011s right now, doing a lot of testing on them and thoroughly just enjoying shooting them. And I figure if it's one of the guns that I shoot the best, if it comes down to defending myself, why not use that option? Especially one that's been reliable. Obviously there are mixed feedback on that as far as reliability of 2011s go, especially with a lot of the higher end ones with really tight tolerancing. But for me so far, the MAC-9 DS comp has been extremely reliable. This particular sample, I ticked over 6,000 rounds through and genuinely have fed it whatever I got my hands on, including hollow points and full metal jackets, and it hasn't given me a hiccup yet. So I trust it, and because of that, I can shoot it fast. I like the way the mechanics of the trigger work, being straight to the rear as opposed to a striker fire gun, and how the pull feels, and it balances in my hand, as I said before. So this one is a winner in my opinion. As far as rifles goes, this is my PSA Jackal 300 Blackout SBR. It's a Jackal upper Gen 1 on the Aero Precision M4E1 lower that I had built out. For me, a suppressed 300 Blackout is a no-brainer as far as being able to get something that's going to be quiet and effective, especially in the home. Depending on the size of your home or yard that you have to protect, you may want something that has more punch and more range or something like that. But with 300 Blackout, the benefit of it is you can always shoot supersonic instead of subsonic ammunition through it if that be the case. So the versatility that's there to me allows 300 Blackout to be a shining star for home defense right now, protecting your ears and being able to switch to say I can get more reach if I needed to by simply swapping the mag. So starting from the butt of the gun here, we have the modular stock side folding ACR style stock that's on there, Rise Armament single stage trigger inside of there, as well as the Streamlight ProTac HLX rail mount up front, and the pressure pad is riding in a cloud defensive mount for it, and EOTech EXPX 2-2 for the optic choice on that guy. Me personally, with my hand size, I like kind of the stubby vertical grip to be able to brace against as like a hand stop. I know this is kind of like an outdated thing where people were running the BCMs and so forth and so on, but for me it's still a very comfortable grip and I don't see a reason to change it or fix it if it works and functions fine. Front of the gun, we have a direct threaded Diligent Defense Enticer S on there, super quiet can, super reasonably priced can. This has been on here for quite some time, so yeah, there are some cans out there now that have probably, you know, outperformed this one, especially when you're talking about price points and flow through technology and stuff like that. But this is a Old Faithful that I've had for a while, hence why it's a Gen 1 Jackal upper on here instead of a Gen 2 or the 2.5 that's out there now. Now for my whys behind why I chose to go with what I did, the Jackal really was my kind of tester, I would say. I got the 300 Blackout because I was very interested in the MCX platform, and this was more affordable than the SIG MCX was, so I figured I'd give it a go and see what I thought of it, and if it shaped out to be something that I enjoyed, then I'd invest the money in getting the more expensive version that has its other pros to it instead. The side folding stock on here, I thoroughly enjoy the ability to collapse this down and keep this as a super small package, especially without the can attached to it. This fits very comfortably inside of a laptop bag or a book bag, as I often would carry it inside of that as a truck gun and things of that sort. But side folding stock that's adjustable to be able to extend out for my longer length of pull, things like that. Can lift the cheek riser up to get it more comfortable for you. The XTech that's on there, I went with the 2-2 just to be able to kind of have a general sense of aim using subsonics and supersonics as far as that goes, with the kind of holdovers that are built into the reticle there. Again, this was home defense in mind, so I wasn't looking for it to be able to stretch out crazy long distances and try to be able to keep zero at 300 yards and stuff like that with the two reticles. But I've taken this out to 300 yards with no problem and genuinely can enjoy plinking with this gun or using it for its intended purposes as something that's more close in proximity. Like I said, the vertical grip here, it allows me to very easily kind of brace the bottom of my hand here and kind of cup into the charging handle, accessing the pressure pad with that. So one of the latest additions that I've added to this rifle are the XTech Tactical Throughflow grips here. What they do is kind of allow the air to still kind of escape and cool off the handguard and the barrel while still giving you protection, keeping your hand from actually touching against the rail as you hold on to it, giving you spacing as well as the airflow so it doesn't get as hot very quickly. They're super modular, something that you can just kind of plug into MLOK slots and things like that. So they're a super easy addition to a firearm, and they actually do enhance the shooting experience. That is one of the things that I do recommend to a lot of people who are looking at building their gun or setting their gun up, is to add some type of a rail cover or something on there, just because as you put a lot of rounds through any rifle, you're going to start to feel the heat kind of transfer into the handguard there. So as I said, the Jackal was kind of my entry to try out the short stroke piston system with a compact 300 blackout. Still really love this gun, but I did exactly what I said and kind of progressed to the Rattler LT here. So ended up kind of investing more money into it because I like the setup and overall feel of the 300 blackout, compact 300 blackout, and running that. This gets a slightly shorter barrel on there. I also have the Midwest Industries skeletonized stock on the back. SIG Romeo 8T AMR up top on a Unity riser, SMS Trinity laser on there, and a Modlite OKW head on a mosh posh of body and tail adapters and stuff like that. I went with the Magwell offset QD mount just because it's so compact. You don't have a lot of rail space on this guy. So running my sling here off the offset to the rear kind of keeps the gun balanced a little better and stuff like that, as opposed to looking for a QD that would go on an MLOK slot or take up the small rail space that's already on there. And I know right now the Elvals are all the rave and all of that type of stuff, but for me specifically, I wanted this gun to stay super compact. That was my goal, so I didn't do the longer handguard. And I also have the 8-inch Spear LT as well, so it kind of was I guess a no-brainer for me to say keep this the stubby guy. But yeah, I went with the accent on the side there for the controls with the light and the laser, as well as put the white light cover on there in case I do any type of ND charges with the light or anything like that accidentally of some sort. I did set this up also as my first night vision gun. Once I got a PVS 14, I was kind of thirsty to get something to kind of set up to be able to shoot under nods, and felt like this was just the perfect platform to get out there and enjoy in that regard. Now, these don't have a lot of rail space or anything like that on them, but I still was able to use the Throughflows on the XTech Tactical Throughflow grip panels on side of these MLOK slots here, just to add a little bit extra kind of coverage for my support hand as it goes through there. Typically when I'm firing that, I'm riding on top of the Unity button there, and yeah, it keeps my hand kind of off from touching this with a compact gun, especially one that has a FRT in it and you start blasting rounds off. These things do heat up, and that's nice to have something to kind of a standoff. This is Magwell vertical grip on this guy, and yeah, that kind of sets me up kind of getting started with it. It's still a working project, so I haven't got it 100% where I want her to be just yet. A few more touches that I want to get inside of here. Still trying to figure out what suppressor I want to run dedicated on this guy. J Bennett Omega valve in there, and we'll be pretty set at that point. But super lightweight gun, super compact gun. So when you're talking about home defense, going through different type of doors, corners, stuff like that, it's very nice to have something that's more compact instead of a longer gun that extends out or can reach out around the corner or through a doorway before you get through it. We've learned through different trainings and stuff like that that having the barrel protrude through first kind of gives away that you're about to come through the door, as well as allow someone to be able to kind of shift off the barrel or grab onto the barrel, preventing you from actually being able to get on target and defend yourself. So Compact guns, to me, sub guns, things like that make a lot of sense in the home, especially when you're not looking at extreme distances and stuff to shoot out to, looking for more close range. And something like this is a nice wieldy package to be able to get through there and maneuver with. So as I said, there's a lot of options when it comes to home defense. These are just a couple of mine personally. I know a lot of people talk about shotguns, things like that. I've tried it out. I've still run a couple of shotguns that I thoroughly enjoy, but I do personally like the aspect of having more ammunition on tap, as well as the versatility of saying I can stretch out to further distances of engagement if I need to easier without having to try to change shells and things like that and switch from some type of a shot to a slug and things of that sort. The number one thing that I will say is whatever you choose for your home defense, make sure you actually put a lot of rounds through that firearm, both for reliability aspects and proof that your gun is actually going to work and not running into hiccups or issues, but more importantly for you to build on your fundamental skills of being prepared to defend yourself. Dry fire in the house, map out your routes, get a game plan in mind. You know, we all love to watch CQB videos and do all of that stuff, but figure out a way that you can hunker down somewhere and get on the line with the law enforcement and get them on the way to you while you're prepared to defend yourself. Optics, it's a big conversation right now with the iron sights versus optics and things of that sort. For me, as you can see, I'm a fan of optics, and just like I put them on rifles, it carries over to handguns for me. Anything in that moment of high stress that's going to kind of aid and assist you, same ideology behind having a white light on your gun, being able to illuminate your target while also kind of being able to disorient them with the bright light in their face is an advantage for you. The optic carries the same weight of saying you can see where the dot is and you can send shots even if you're caught off guard, not prepared, and don't have a full sight picture or anything like that. You see the dot, send it. So kind of wrapping it up here today, guys. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and huge shout out to XTech Tactical for the Throughflow grip inserts here. These inserts are super modular and kind of plug right into your MLOK slots. You don't have to worry about screws or torquing down any screws or anything like that. Also, make sure you check out the X-Flare as well, giving you a nice Magwell at a great price point to assist you with loading your magazines and things of that sort. These are designed for mil-spec lowers right now, but there definitely will be more platforms like the MCX and the M4E1 lowers and things like that available to you guys soon. But for now, we'll see you next time.